Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios. For this issue, we're looking at the Uncanny X-Men 203 from 1985. It is part of the Secret Wars 2 crossover. This takes place immediately after New Mutants 37, I believe here, and it is the last of these stupid Secret Wars 2 crossovers that Jim Shooter mandated. I understand the point of crossovers. It is to kind of make everything cohesive and sell more issues, and that's what it was. I am not covering Secret Wars 2. I'm not planning on covering Secret Wars 2. I've covered Secret Wars, the original. But Secret Wars 2, I really was not interested. This really will resolve in Secret Wars number 9, which is the last issue. So we're not really going to get a complete resolution on the Beyonder. Feel free to check out the link below if you're interested in seeing how this concluded or see if somebody else has covered Secret Wars 2. So, Phoenix versus the Beyonder. So, the universe isn't big enough for both of them. So, covered by John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson. So, we start out in the uh, oh my god, the Bay Bridge here, the Golden Gate Bridge. And we're getting her, she's remembering when she had her fight with Miss Marvel here and believed that she had killed her. So Chris Claremont is our writer, John Romita Jr. is our penciler. Al Williamson continues to be the guest inker, and I love Al Williamson. Rest in peace, Al Williamson. Tom Zakowski, one of my favorite letterers. And then Glynis Oliver continues. So it's basically everybody, the same team that it's been for years. And then Nocenti and Jim Shooter continue with the editorial here. So this is again Rogue's Memories here. So, all right. So the X-Men are in San Francisco, which is why she's remembering all this. So she's going through how she absorbed Miss Marvel's powers, and we get the narration of they're mutants and this and that. But in the case, normally the transfers are not permanent, but this time it was permanent. And of course, Rogue was a heel back then, member of the Brotherhood, and so now she's just kind of looking, and she feels. I'm narrating this because Chris Claremont is very wordy, as you can see here, and so she wants to make amends, and so you can see she feels terrible about she's done, and she's gonna do the best that she can with what she has. So there's a complete face turn here. So all right, telling you, there's so many freaking words. I love Chris Claremont. This is my favorite run of comic books. His X-Men run is incredible. I have several playlists, by the way. I have a X-Men playlist. I also have an X Universe playlist and a New Mutants playlist. All sorts of stuff. I just started X Factor. So I'm covering everything in reading order. So check those out. If you want the complete reading order, check out the X Universe playlist, because that also has the Wolverine limited series, Kitty Pryde and the Wolverine limited series. Has the Marvel Fanfare, the first 4 issues. So it's got a lot of stuff in there. So check that out if you want a complete account. So anyway, so we get a recap of the previous issue about why they're there, the Beyonder, and all that kind of stuff here. and we find Ileana here, and uh, um, Kitty, she asks Kitty if everything's okay. Turns out that Kitty is wearing Ileana's um, Eldritch armor, and that it's bonded to her. She also has the Soul Sword, and she tells them, that um, they're dead, that the Beyonder killed all of them here. Um, and he did, but that's okay. They all come back in Secret Wars number 9. So, Secret Wars 2, number 9. So, feel free to check that out. They don't stay dead. And so, but at this point, we're having a bit of exposition about Kitty and all that stuff and how they need to take on the Beyonder, this and that. Here's the thing: everybody in these crossovers all sort of did the same thing, which is why I don't know. I'm not big on crossovers, but because I'm covering the X-Men and I'm covering everything as I mentioned before in reading order, I do have to cover this and try to explain stuff, particularly with Secret Wars 2 that I am not covering nor planning on covering. So I got to kind of give you some stuff. So Phoenix of course is adamant she has to be the one to destroy the Beyonder. She is the Beyonder is just has to be dealt with here. By the way, they're all staying in the house that Jessica drew, the former Spider Woman. So she must be a millionaire because that's the only people that can afford to live in San Francisco because that is the most expensive city in the freaking country. So, and by the way, here I'm sorry, something that I should have covered. The X Men don't remember the New Mutants. Only Kitty remembers the New Mutants, and that is just part of it because the Beyonder has made it as if they never existed. So nobody has any memory of them, but it'll come back. So anyway, we're here with Phoenix here. And so we're reminded that she has a portion of the Beyonder's powers, and he says the Beyonder gave me a portion of his might, enough, he said, for me to kill him. But doing so would have meant your death. I choose to save you. Only he never took the power back. It's still within me, and I mean to use it. So, and so, Rogue says that's a suicide mission. Kitty says, what's to stop him from reabsorbing the energy the moment you show your face? And Phoenix says, nothing. If I confront him directly, but I've got a better idea. What happens if the universe he inhabits ceases to exist? And she says, can you do that? Destroy everything? And so, why say something in a few words when Chris Claremont can write a book? So, so she says, with a little help from you guys, I can. He was planning on destroying the whole universe anyway. So she basically says, I can't do it completely on my own. I need your strength, your life force, your spirits to sustain me. My mother, the original Phoenix, sacrificed her life for the universe. Can we do any less? And so Kitty agrees. Rogue agrees. And Jessica Drew, so this is the original Spider Woman, she also agrees. And Peter doesn't agree, but she's going to take it anyway. So, and then Wolverine doesn't agree, but she takes it anyway. And Magneto also agrees, doesn't agree, but takes it anyway. And I say Magneto, not Magneto. I've explained a million times why, but I'll continue here. But Storm is awake, and she's like, no. And Phoenix says, if you won't give you, freely of your soul force, Ororo, then I'll simply take what I need. And she leaves Storm down, and look at this. Boom. And so she's everywhere, just taking everything that she needs. And the Beyonder watches her, knowing that stuff is up. So of course she's made her way across. She's left the Milky Way. She's now like in another area here. the Starjammers are seeing her. Xavier is right here. Xavier was taken in issue number 200. Again, I have a playlist. He sees the Phoenix, and they're like, "What in the name of?" And then Professor Recognizer, he talks to her telepathically. He says, "Rachel, is that you? In mercy's name, child, stop." And she says, "Too late for that, Professor. There's no more mercy within me than in the one I intend to kill. Professor Xavier, you were with Phoenix in spirit, the Empress Halandra and her Starjammers in the flesh, when my mom came to this place to save the universe. It's only fair for you to be with me when I destroy it." So remember in the end of Dave Cockrum's run and the early John Byrne run, when they fought against this they fought this little dude here. So now everyone that she took the soul from has appeared here, and she says, "Welcome. I welcome your spirit forms, X-Men, Starjammers, friends, and family, to our finest hour. I thank you for the gift of your life forces. I mean to use them well." So, and so, Rachel basically reveals to everyone that she intends to unleash the neutron universe being contained within the crystal in order to wipe out all existence and create a universe devoid of the Beyonder. Of course, Storm, she's going to attempt to appeal to Phoenix one more time, but of course, Rachel is going to refuse to give in. And she is going to try and connect with this. My goodness gracious! It's a hard name. Macran crystal. And so Storm, continuing to appeal to her, says, "Suppose you were wrong, child. Have you considered the awful cost?" And Phoenix says, "I have no choice." And Storm says, "You always have a choice." And Phoenix says, "I won't be stopped, Ororo, by you or anyone." And so we get this beautiful double page splash here. That's just really, really good, really, really clever. So Phoenix is now connected to every living being in existence and realizes that all the lives that would be snuffed out of existence. And she's torn between doing what she thinks is right and her inability to commit universal genocide. So she's, you can see here kind of the dark these 3 pages, this is a double page spread. These 3 pages are absolutely beautifully done here. Rachel's just not gonna do it, and so she brings everybody home and says, "Everything depended on me, Ororo, but I failed, I failed, I failed." And Storm says, because you could not kill, because you could not slaughter countless innocent, a strange failure." So, and Phoenix says, "Now that Beyonder will, he'll destroy everything." And Storm says, "And that infinite cost will be upon his conscience." Real quick, I love screen tones. I love Al Williamson. John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson, after X-Men, they will actually team up in Daredevil. There'll be a nice little run here. I think of about 14 issues or so. Oh, actually more than that, probably 25 issues. Now that I remember correctly, because it starts in Daredevil 250, and so I have not covered that run. I plan on getting to that run. But I just love Al Williamson's use of screen tones. Um, I love it. Him and oh my gosh, Tom Palmer, wonderful inkers, both of them, and Al Williamson, rest in peace. And so Kitty says, "What would happen to us, Ororo? How do we all get back here?" And so she lets her know that Phoenix brought them. And look, Wolverine is shaking. He's like, of everything that they saw, that they've seen here. Um, Magneto speaks that he was once asked if he would kill Adolf Hitler as a kid. He said yes. Then if he would kill his grandparents, he said yes. He would do whatever sacrifice needed to make sure that what came to be would not. And so the Beyonder comes through and says, "I'm disappointed, X-Men." By the way, I love how this is done in that circle here as the Beyonder speaks. Wolverine pops his claws and he's like, "Main event, Colossus, on your toes." And you can see Colossus like, "I wish I could see my parents." Even Wolverine is like, "Been fun, Mariko, my love." So the X-Men are basically getting ready to die. Rogue thinks here, or speaks here, "All we've seen, all we've done." And basically the Beyonder finishes and don't make a bit of difference. "That's right, Rogue. I offered you X-Men the opportunity to go out with a truly spectacular bang, but you flubbed it. I suppose I should have known. As your villains sometimes say, if you want a job done right, you have to do it yourself." And he says, "Well, here I am." I love this inking. I think Al Williamson does John Romita better than anyone here. And the Beyonder continues, "This is the end of your road, X-Men. I hope you plan to go down swinging. Not that you have a prayer of winning, but I really enjoy a good scrap. If not, I'll terminate you where you stand." So, um, as someone who did not cover Secret Wars 2, I don't know whether Beyonder has an in for everyone. I know that he was in a few things. I know that Chris Claremont, I guess, played with him a little bit more than everyone else, but yeah, I guess the Beyonder has a hard on for the heroes of the Earth. So the X-Men are basically going to refuse the fight here, and the Beyonder asks, um, so they question the Beyonder on how he could possibly destroy all of existence. He tells them he feels that all existence is confusing and wrong. So you can see here Kitty kind of going at it with him here. But basically, all those words are for this here. So Kitty lashes out at the Beyonder. She chastises him for wanting to snuff out human life because he finds it inconvenient and not considering how his actions affect others. Um, the Beyonder basically, um, uh, oh my goodness gracious, sorry about this. So let me try it again. The Beyonder retorts that humanity rejected being one with the universe. Um, Man, there is just, I'm sorry, it's just, there is so much here, and I do try to keep these videos at a manageable time frame. It's just, goodness gracious. So the X-Men explain that they don't want to be handed such power. They want to earn their way. So we have Phoenix here who steps forward. She's going to tell the Beyonder that he's the embodiment of death, and from now on, she will be the defender of life and will not allow him to cause any more harm to the human race. She realized that the Beyonder was the one who was attempting to get her to destroy the universe with her power. The Beyonder does admit this, and he asks for the power back. And Rachel is more than happy to oblige. However, she gives him an amassed experience when she was linked to the universe through the Macron crystal, and that's basically what Chris Claremont is telling us here. The Beyonder actually will become overwhelmed um, with the existence of every living being, and he'll buckle in the pain as he understands what it means to exist here. And look at this here. I never dreamed, never imagined, and never conceived as he gets everything Why did it take so long to finally learn this? He says as he falls. So Storm explains to him, and she points out that every living creature struggles to make the best of their lives due to the threat of their ultimate mortality, that they would eventually die. This is going to give the Beyonder much to ponder over, and so he decides to leave the X-Men alone, and he teleports away, and he says, I find myself envying your humanity. In that, I think your race is truly blessed. Do not squander it, as he disappears here. And so they leave the X-Men to think about it here. Um, so Colossus is gonna ask the teammates if they made a difference, and Storm says they did. No matter what happened, they tried their best to make a difference. So this does continue in Secret Wars 2 number 9, which is the conclusion of that series. Feel free to check that out somewhere else, not in this channel, because I'm not covering that. So and then if you notice, Nightcrawler was not in this issue. So the next one is what happened to Nightcrawler. So I know I went through this video quickly, more narration than reading like I normally do, but that's kind of how I treat some of these issues where they are part of a larger story, but I'm not covering the larger story, so I just try to be as quick about it. But this is, if you want good news, this was it for Secret Wars 2. There's no more Secret Wars 2 at all in anything else. No more tie-ins, no more anything. So from here on out, we're straight up business with all the books that I'm going through. So Uncanny X-Men 203, Chris Claremont, John Romita Jr., and the lovely Al Williamson. Rest in peace, Al. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.